Are you Aspaklaria? Would you like to be one? How can you tell if perhaps you don't know what it means? I invite you now. Let's find out together what Aspaklaria really is. I guess it's as if somebody was plugged into the right energy socket. It's as if you had some sort of clarity of vision, as if you were on the right frequency, or perhaps maybe as if you were transmitting the right frequency, as if you became a vehicle for that transmission, as if you were traveling along the path that was preordained for you, and you deeply felt like you really meant to travel along that road, as if you were in perfect resonance with that frequency that was meant to be yours from the start, transmitting a pure white light.
Let the light shine through me, always undistorted.
Making the right choices, transmitting the right message, singing your own song, singing the right note. Get that ego out of the way. Singing your song, but singing it. Being in harmony with the source of it all. It's rather fascinating to ponder all these ideas, but I've decided to ask an expert. Hello, I'm here today with Dr. Shalom Springer, a very good friend of mine and also my teacher. And I thought this is going to give us a perfect opportunity to ask him for some insights into the meaning of the word Aspaklaria, which is the title of my album and also the title of its eponymous song. In fact, I have a just released CD of Aspaklaria, and here in the booklet of the CD I wrote a little motto that describes what's behind the song Aspaklaria, and it says, "Oh, just let me be a transparent vessel for the divine will." Dr. Springer, would you like to tell us a little bit more about the mystical meaning of the word Aspaklaria? Because a lot of my listeners ask, what does it mean? It sounds so beautiful, so percussive, so melodious, but obviously there is a wealth of meaning behind that word, and this is what I've invited you here to tell us about.
Well, thank you very much, Jarmila, for inviting me here to explore the ideas and the deeper meanings behind this word Aspaklaria and the implications. The word, which is Aramaic, actually means a lens. And if you take that and start from the actual physical idea of a lens, it is a piece of material that allows light to pass through it, but also has another function in that it focuses the light and creates a very sharp and a very definite image. And this is the idea that in a spiritual sense and in a mystical sense, the idea of an Aspaklaria is that too, that we are surrounded by electromagnetic waves all around us, all sorts of different waves, whether they are radio waves or other light waves, and the spectrum is very, very great. And if these go through a lens, then they have the tendency to be able to focus and create an image which is very identified. And this is what we would like to be, so to speak, which is that we would like the light, as you said in your beautiful sentence from your album, to pass through us and to be that lens, but one which does not distort the light as it passes through, does not corrupt it in any way, does not change in any way, but that the output is actually equivalent and has all the elements of the input.
Since we speak about the clarity of vision, I guess I'd better clarify that the album itself is called Aspaklaria, which means just lens in Aramaic. I really meant it to mean clear lens, but for that, the Talmud uses the phrase Aspaklaria, Meira. Could you tell us, Dr. Springer, something about the distinction that the Talmud mentions between Aspaklaria Meira, the clear lens, and Aspaklaria Sheina Meira, slightly tarnished, unclear lens? And that would then lead us to something that fascinates me really the most. And that is that, is there any relevance of these ancient wisdoms and scriptures to today's human beings? I'd like to explore that a little bit.
The expression used in the ancient Hebraic writings of Aspaklaria Meira, the perfectly transmitting lens, and the Aspaklaria Sheina Meira, the imperfect lens, was to bring out the idea that one person, Moses, of ancient history, achieved this accolade, this title of Aspaklaria Meira, the perfectly transmitting lens, which was that the messages that he received from the great cosmos, from the infinite, were completely transmitted in an undistorted way as messages to the people. And the idea here is that when the ego is reduced, when one can put oneself in the background, then this creates the transparency that is required for becoming the Aspaklaria Meira, that perfectly transmitting lens. And it can be compared a little to a parable or an analogy that I once heard of a student who was piloting an aeroplane for the very first time. And he gets into trouble and the aeroplane is going all over the place. And he's terribly scared and he radios back to base and explains that he is in trouble and he can't control the plane. And he's wrestling with the controls. And the controller back at base tells him to take his hands off the controls and his feet off the foot controls. And he's very worried about doing that, but he does that and magically the plane rights itself. And this is sometimes the effect that we see in life when we think we're driving things, we think we're in control, and things are going slightly wrong. The idea might be to relax the control, to take ourselves away and allow things to happen by themselves through natural forces. And this is what Moses achieved with his negation of his self and his ego. He became the ideal transmitter of the message.
This spiritual visionary, Moses, at the same time as being a leader of the nation, he was also called by those ancient Hebraic scriptures the most humble man ever lived. How could that be? Isn't there some kind of discrepancy? What do we really learn from it?
The problem you have raised comes about because of our understanding and our upbringing with leaders who are usually politicians. And these are people that usually have enormous egos and they lead with charisma. That is the method which we are used to. Moses was an entirely different type of leader. It wasn't a question of force. It wasn't that he used his powers. In fact, what Moses transmitted was an inner power, gained, in fact, by his humility and the understanding of the people he led. And this was a person that can give them direction just because he is so in touch with the greater cosmos, with the infinite, which of course the common man is not. And it's that recognition of the light that shone through him and the humility that goes with it that gave him his incredible power, and I think he became a sort of unrepeatable offer. Nobody has lived with the powers that Moses had in the way that he expressed them, and the honesty, the humility, and the character and the personality that he was made him not only an exceptional leader, but of course a unique figure of history.
So, we spoke a lot about light tonight and about a clear lens. And I'd like to thank you, Dr. Springer, for enlightening our conversation and for coming.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let the light shine through me.